So, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. Just sort of waking up today, but we're in the tour hibernation. Where our daytime doesn't really start till just about now. So after sound check and things, you start to kind of wake up. Your day is sort of flipped on its head, where your mornings become evening when you're touring a lot. So, but yeah, we're doing good.
Converge has been around for more than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any differences in the scene back then and nowadays?
To be honest, I don't really pay that much attention to the community at large when it comes to music. I'm pretty introverted. I just think about what we're doing as a band and progressing and evolving as an artist with the other guys in the band, refining what we do, just improving what we do. Like one thing with our band that I think is different than a lot of bands that exist today is our history is right there. We started as children. We were like I was 13, 14 years old when I started trying to write music for this band. So the first our first forays into just lyric writing and just writing music, we were learning how to play our instruments. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just fans of punk rock and metal and hardcore and wanted to contribute in some way. So things were really simple and kind of one-dimensional when we started, and as we grew as a band, things took on a kind of life of their own, and we started to evolve and do different things. And that's the only thing I'm really ever concerned about. The community will always change. Bands that are popular or the trends that come and go will always change, but we just sort of act and exist independently from those things. That ebb and flow that goes on within the music community at large doesn't really affect us. We don't take influence from those things or direction. So it's not much different to us. It's simply an audience that we can engage with, and that's it. I'm sure there's lots of little subtle nuances that have changed, and there's different kinds of bands that have become popular, but it just doesn't affect us really.
And so you were very young when you started.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you'll ever be too old for playing such aggressive music?
Oh, definitely. I think there's a point where you don't necessarily cease being angry or want to create abrasive and aggressive music, but I think that the music has to evolve with you. You can't, once the music starts to break from your real life, then you're no longer playing honest music. You're sort of playing almost dress up in a way. You're playing a role, and our music is very real, and our songs are very personal. So if we started to go in a direction or grew to the point where we just felt old and disconnected, we would no longer be a band. I would never want to play music that is disingenuous like that. I think one of the strengths of our approach as a band has always been playing just honest music, honest personal music. So if we no longer felt that, if we no longer felt the same sort of complex range of emotions as we got older, we wouldn't do it. I think for me personally, I think my body will probably give out before my drive to play aggressive music will, because physically it's very taxing to do what we do. It's demanding to travel and to put yourself in those sort of environments all the time. You're always injured in some way. There's always something going on, and 10, 20 years of nagging injuries from playing music is a lot. A lot of bands only do it a few times and they're over it, and they can't deal with it. So I think that's the stuff that'll probably slow us down before anything. That and just real life responsibilities outside of playing music, because we all have things that we do outside of the band as well. So.
And the lineup has stayed the same for 12 years now?
Yeah, about 12 years. Yeah.
What's the secret to keep it so strong while other bands change members every 3 months?
Yeah, I don't know. I think mutual respect is one. A good sense of humor is also a key to that, and not taking yourself too seriously. We're like a family environment. We all respect each other and love each other in more of like a way that like siblings love each other and care about one another. We don't spend all the time in the world with each other outside of the band, and we sort of we respect our boundaries with one another, and I think that's something that's really important. When it comes to creating music and writing music, we respect everyone's strengths that they bring to the table. So, for example, Kurt is a brilliant songwriter and guitarist, but he needs editing a lot, and has a lot of ideas. And Nate is a great editor, so he does a fantastic job at when we sit and get together at suggesting ideas and new directions with ideas that come to the table. The guys kind of leave me alone to develop my visual ideas and refine those ideas and lyrical ideas and that aspect of the direction of our band. And Ben's a brilliant drummer that brings a ton of talent to the table that sometimes just drives the direction of any song. So understanding where those strengths are and not stepping on each other's toes, and we expect a lot from one another, I guess, and we always deliver. So I think I don't know. I just think that there's a variety of keys on a keychain, that are why we've been the same way we have been for a long time. And we've also had sort of tunnel vision. We all kind of know what we want. We want to create a band that we'd want to be in. We want to create a band that we want to see as fans of music, and that's just what we're doing. And fortunately, we all have pretty good taste when it comes to that sort of thing.
And all 4 members also have side projects?
Yeah, we have lots of other side projects and things that have different musical voices and creative voices, because we're all independent people. We all bring a wide variety of influences to the table in our band. But like Nate has Doom Riders, for example. That's one of his primary bands outside of this, which is kind of a more rock-oriented band, sort of a grimy, sort of skate rock influenced band, a little bit of Thin Lizzy influence in there as well. But they've turned into their own band after two albums for sure. He has Old Man Gloom, which is a project with a bunch of friends of ours that's a little more experimental. Kurt is always recording other bands and engineering and producing other bands, but he also finds time to play with a lot of friends at home as well. He's recorded some things but hasn't released them, but he's done some interesting things outside the band. And Ben's always playing drums in All Pigs Must Die, Acid Tiger. I played in Cave-In for a little while as well. And I record a lot of stuff on my own at home. And we all just enjoy doing those things. We all have different kind of personalities and directions that we want to explore, but it doesn't deter from anything that we do as a band. It doesn't take anything away from our band. If anything, I feel it amplifies what we do, because we're always working on our music independently. So when we come together, we're hopefully better musicians and have more refined ideas when we come to the table together. It's sort of a constant sharpening of what we want to do, and then we come together and we've improved.
And besides of that, you also work as a visual artist and have your label.
Mm-hmm.
So how hard is it to find the right balance with everything?
It's pretty difficult, I suppose, but a lot of it's second nature to me now because I do it so much. I enjoy forward movement. I enjoy being busy. I enjoy being part of productive things, helping other artists be heard, and just being a creative individual. So they're all related. It's like if I feel that I'm just at a stopping point with one project, I just move on to something else that I'm working on, and it's great. I have a variety of avenues and directions I can go in. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I work a lot at home. Most days are anywhere between 12 and 14-hour days, of constant work. either sitting at Death Wish, working at Death Wish, or running around doing a wide variety of other things, never mind when the band is active. So I'm just fortunate that I have those opportunities, and those entrepreneurial sort of efforts have turned into something legitimate over time, So yeah, as much as it's difficult, I enjoy every second of it.
And when you founded Death Wish, what did you hope for with this label?
I didn't really hope for much. I don't really think of things that way. I just like to be part of productive, positive things. And at the time, a lot of bands that we were friends with were having a difficult time with record labels that they were working with, and I think there was an ushering of an old guard was kind of being ushered out of the label world, where there was hardcore labels that were handing you these 30-page contracts to sign to release a record to 18-year-old kids. It didn't make any sense to us. We wanted to create an alternative, a different kind of world that we can have simple agreements with simple bands and just cultivate creative artists. So that was it. That was the only goal, and we're still doing that. I think we've released almost 150 records at this point, and we acquired 2 other labels as our label's grown. So, and we have a few hundred titles that we distribute and we manufacture, and it's great. It's a wonderful home for a lot of artists that I feel are some of the most important in punk rock and hardcore and in that whole world.
And you have your own label, yet you're still working with Epitaph with Converge.
Mm-hmm.
How come? What do they bring you that you wouldn't have with your label?
Well, when we started Death Wish, I didn't want Death Wish to be the Converge label. Much like how our friend Aaron, who owns and operates Hydra Head, didn't want ISIS to be wholly associated with Hydra Head. He wanted to be able to branch out and do other things, and I think that's really important. Other bands like Touche Amore, for example, or any other band that we work with in some capacity with Death Wish, we're responsible for them and to them, and I would never want to put my band first. I think that kind of creates a conflict of interest and creates a strange environment where you'd be pushing other artists to the back burner that you want to publicize and promote and get out there to people. So by taking Converge and having Epitaph handle a majority of those responsibilities for the label end, frees that up for us. Death Wish still has affiliations with Converge. We still do a bunch of stuff, but we don't do everything. I think that's important, because otherwise we would just be the Converge label, and that wouldn't be fair to the other bands.
And the other bands, is it you who chooses them? Who you're gonna sign to the label?
Yeah, it's a democratic process. Sometimes I'll bring a band to the table. Sometimes Trey, who runs Death Wish with me, he'll bring a band or project to the table, and as long as we both see some sort of positive in the bands, and we both have to agree on it, then we roll forward with it. But there's definitely projects that are more his, and there are other projects that are more mine. But it's the way it is, because we have different tastes and different, just different motivations as fans of bands. But we agree on everything.
Are there any bands that you're into at the moment that you would recommend?
I just enjoy our catalog. It's always expanding in some way. I think there's a lot of variety in it. We just released a record for a younger band from home called Code Orange Kids that I think are really interesting. They remind myself of the sort of spirit and soul that our band carries, and has always carried, and having a sort of dedication to the hard work end of being a band. They're one of those already, and it's a rarity. We don't see bands like that much that are young and just want to put their heads down and tour and play and create music and just do it relentlessly and relentlessly progress. A lot of bands want to do a couple tours and they get burnt out, or they do a record or two and they realize that it's just not for them for whatever reason, and they just stop doing it. But those guys are definitely a band that's I would say of like mind, and it's a rare thing to see. I like Oathbreaker a lot, from Belgium. They're a wonderful band, and we released one record for them and releasing another one sometime next year. Let's see, Touche Amore are a wonderful band. They're sort of leading the new sort of chapter of more emotional melodic hardcore that's been coming out over the last 6 or 7 years, and I'm just fortunate to be able to work with those bands.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's about it. Thank you guys for your time, and thanks for checking out what we're all a part of. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.